Hello and welcome to the next episode of The Conscious Collective. It's myself, Lucy, and Emily.
Hello, it's so nice to be here.
And today we are talking about gridwork because that's something that is kind of not known as well in the collective, and we really want to change that. And gridwork is something that is so powerful, and it's actually the work of modern day superheroes. It's a way that you can really change the world. And change the frequency of the planet. The power is in your hands, and we think that's exciting.
It's really
we would
exciting.
Like you to be excited about it. There are so many people out there who can assist and step up, and must be feeling the call, don't you think, Emily?
Yes, I just don't think they know maybe what it is.
Realize what it is, and we want to really get to the bottom of that today. So, if you're watching and you think, "What on earth are they talking about? Modern day superheroes."
Gridwork.
What's that all about? Is that for me? Listen to this episode, and as you listen, I think you'll find that there are a lot of clues, hidden clues, to show you that actually you can be part of this too. And it is the most beautiful thing to get involved in. So let's dive in, Emily.
Wonderful.
Let's talk about what is gridwork. So, what is gridwork? It is working with the Earth's grids, so the frequencies, and people know it as ley lines underneath the Earth, dragon lines.
Yeah, dragon lines is a popular one
Really
that used to be used in China.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other ways of that we know?
It's like our body has acupuncture points and acupressure points. I kind of see it like that for the earth as well. And these are vortexes of energy, really powerful energy where they cross over. And then you see phenomenal sites being built there. And modern day religious places are still built over these crossing of these ley lines, because as you look back through history, you will realize that those points were,
people knew.
Well, it all started with animals, actually. Apparently, they would follow where the animals would eat the grass and where they'd go to the best tree and where the water would run through. But there was certain points that they wouldn't naturally think that's where I'd be attuned to going. But it was these energetic points. And then over time, religious places were built on it, and pyramids, and so many of the sites that we know and love today, Stonehenge, Avebury. Yeah.
And there's lots that goes on at these sort of portal points, these convergences of the ley lines. But we're today talking about using these in a particular way, because we know that they're aligned to the stars and you can open up portals and gateways and things like that. But we're not going to be talking about that so much today. We are, in a sense, but we're really talking about working with the energies and seeding in frequencies and high vibrational frequencies into the earth, specifically to raise its frequency. And these vortexes and energy lines have been used for so many different things over time. But this is what we really want to come to talk about today.
And as we talk about it, just see how this sits with you. Just see if this kind of resonates, or maybe it activates some kind of knowingness, or maybe a little memory. Or maybe as you hear us talk, you'll be thinking, gosh, there is that place that I still haven't been to yet that keeps calling me, that I want to go. So maybe make a note of that, and we encourage you to go and explore it. Look and see if there's ley lines going underneath it, because there will be.
Yeah, definitely. And by you going there, it's then diving a little bit deeper as to what are you being called there for? Is it just because you're curious, and that's great? But I think what we want to talk about today is actually using the power you can hold to channel energy into that space. And quite often we're called to, kind of urban spaces like London, and I know our lovely Francesca goes all over the planet, and she's done so much work in London, where the energy does need to be harmonized and restored. These busy places all need help. So if you're drawn to certain places, then what is that what is that saying to you? Sit with that for sure. Because what we're doing is, what is Gridwork? It's anchoring in frequencies into Gaia. That's what it is in its truest sense. And you can do that by visiting and being in that loving frequency and loving vibration. Or you can do it to a very deep level and layer. And I would say that if you are somebody who has learned how to channel energy, then that's something that you can really powerfully step into those superhero shoes and powerfully connect and become a bridge from the as above and so below, right? So being a bridge between galactics and source, and channeling through high vibrational frequencies to wherever you're being called on the planet. So it's pretty amazing work.
It is.
So you might be drawn to Egypt, you might be drawn to Sedona. There's so many places that you're probably thinking, yeah, I just feel like I really want to go there. And it might just be to be a tourist and just look, or it might be to go a little bit deeper. So I think we're encouraging people today to just sit with that and sit with, am I a grid worker? Am I supposed to be participating in this? And the answer is probably yes. The answer is yes.
Yes, come join us.
Exactly.
So would you see it as we're charging the earth then?
Absolutely. The earth is moving, and so many people are aware that the earth is changing. I mean, you look around you and everything is really changing, and we're all like, what's going on? There's so many shifts and changes in this lifetime, and there is so much going on. We're all aware of that. And this is a way of us helping, rather than being humanitarian and charitable in the way that we all feel called, don't we, as empaths and as light workers? We all want to help the hotspots of the planet that are struggling right now. Well, this is a way of doing it, rather than getting on a plane and helping in these, war-torn countries and things like that. This is another way of helping. So it comes from that real purity and that humanitarian soul space of wanting to help lift the frequency of the planet, but doing it energetically. And so, it's shifting the energy on the frequency of the planet itself. So she's got her own frequency. And as you know, it's been so low vibe, right? For such a long time, with all the wars and all the horrors and
war after
terrorism and all these things that have been going on for so long. And this is our way of being able to help shift collectively out of that. So rather than working on individual people, it's working on the consciousness of the planet collectively and working on the earth frequencies collectively. So
and it is a very pure practice, wouldn't you say? Because you're not going to get instantaneous results necessarily. You may never really see or know the difference of your work, at least in the short term. But the more you do this, the more you've got the desire to, then all sorts of things can happen and change, and memories can flood back, and light language can just switch on, and a whole aspect of you can just open up. But I think it's best when you just do it with the purest of intentions, not looking to get anything back other than that pure present moment of just being out in nature and connecting with your beautiful planet. That,
I mean, it feels great, doesn't it? Feels amazing. I mean, there's no way you would do anything like this and ever walk away feeling worse. Like, you would feel uplifted. And also, I would say you feel like you have, it's a magical feeling of alignment with your purpose, because this is what so many of us souls have signed up for in this lifetime, to do this work. So if you are feeling called to the sort of the words light worker, and so someone who wants to help the planet right now, this will be part of your soul's calling,
Absolutely.
And you'll feel so amazing when you do this work. So you may not get any thanks for it, gratification, you won't get paid for it. It's not about that. Just like Emily said, you have to come from that really pure place. But when you do, you feel so incredible. Like, you feel so aligned with your soul purpose and your soul mission. So it's worth doing.
And the more you do it with others, you'll start to meet your soul family. And that's just a wonderful thing. And it's how we met, isn't it?
That's how we met. So we wanted to share our stories actually today, didn't we?
We did.
About our sort of first experiences with Gridwork. So how was yours? What was your first? Did you ever come across, when did you first come across the understanding that maybe what you were doing was Gridwork? Well, as a term?
I mean, it was only less than 18 months ago, really, that I just got called to go to Avebury and just knew I needed to be there for that day of doing, I don't even know if Gridwork was really used, but it was like a remembering, connecting with megaliths. It was all a bit vague from what I remembered, but I knew I needed to be.
Yeah, was for you, what was happening before was a call to megaliths.
Definitely.
That's what happened, I think, from what you've told me.
Yeah.
So that was the unfolding for you. It was this draw, which I think is really important for people to hear, because I'm sure there's so many people that feel that as well. It's like, why am I so interested in megaliths?
And I've always loved big rocks. Like always just loved
that. That's so cute.
Big rocks. Like I always thought that at the front of my property, I'd have a big rock.
That's amazing.
And
That's
like
a
lots
prime
of trees,
example.
just a big rock. Like who wants a big rock?
They don't.
A boulder
They don't
outside
really.
their house.
That's a sign, right? That
You're
was
like,
a sign.
oh, Crystal, I'm at least going to have a rock.
It's a megalith outside the house.
But no, I'm going to have a sentient being that's holding all this information and wisdom that gives off a beautiful hertz, 18 hertz, that just calms me and centers me and just makes me function better. It makes me a happier person.
But
right?
you had
It's so
that,
meditative.
So when did you? So you had that knowing way back then. How long ago would you say you came to that kind of like, oh, I just am fascinated by understanding these big megalith rocks on a deeper level?
Yeah, probably only about 18 months ago as
all
well.
around the same time.
Yeah, I mean, Avebury really sparked it. Someone had been mentioning Avebury and I was like, oh, yeah, that would be nice to go. But it just wasn't really coming together. And then when I heard about that event, I was like, yes, I want to be there.
Amazing.
I was a little like, are there going to be aliens there? What does that look like? Do they land their crafts and all of that? So I kind of had all of that thinking going on. But yeah, now I very much know. Now I very much know is yes, they're there. There's loads of crafts, and I've kind of accepted I may never see one in the 3D terms, because I think then that just lets go of any expectation, and because it sounds absolutely nuts and it's fine, but I know I regularly work on a spacecraft and I have them in my garden.
We're working on one now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Well, this is what I meant, obviously. This is what I meant. But yeah, no, in my cabin, I often feel like the Arcturians have taken me off to one of their crafts, and we're just, they're working on my clients as well as me, and they're always teaching me as well. They're always giving back so much. So yeah, Gridwork, I mean, it was just, that being out in nature and just walking around, and I've always liked traveling new paths, wanting to find a new trail to go on after a while of doing the same one again and again. I just cannot take it. It just does my head in. So I love that curiosity of finding things. And I think that's part of what Gridwork is, just not knowing where you're going to go and just exploring it. And we've had, conversations where both of us separately have just been walking around in random directions, and we really should have. I walked in a square. How did I walk in a square and started more east than I started? Like, it just made no sense. And like yours, when we went to try and find that other stone circle. And you're like, I think I'm just doing Gridwork. I was like, okay.
No, I think it was you that said, Lucy, you're doing Gridwork. Because I was just lost in the woods, walking around in a loop that I couldn't get out of. That was the weirdest experience of my life. It was the weirdest experience of my life. I thought, there was hardly any reception, obviously, because I was in some kind of energetic portal. And I was trying to meet Emily. All we were doing was trying to go and meet up, weren't we, and go for a sort of walk in nature. And we knew we were trying to find a random stone circle, but not a big one.
No, it's quite a new one. Like, it was only created like 30, 40 years ago, but they're beautiful rocks. But what I did discover as you were doing your thing,
getting so lost,
that there were 5 red, help me with the name of the tree. Sequoia trees. And they made a cross. And I didn't really realize until I was kind of lying on one of the branches, connecting with the tree, which was a new thing for me to do in that sense.
Okay, I think you need to clarify this. Did you climb the tree and lay on a branch?
No, it was.
I'm imagining her climbing up and like laying.
No, like a cat.
Yeah. Oh, please tell us you were doing that. That would be so funny.
Next time I will do that.
Oh, next time.
No, I was just lying down because the tree, it just kind of touched the ground almost, this massive branch, and then came back up. And I'll put a little Instagram reel on the trees because I was like, yep, okay, what's happening? And then I was like, oh, there's another one and there's another one. And I'd see these points in the distance. I'm like, well, why am I called to look over there? And it wouldn't be until I turned around and went, oh, now I can see all 5 trees right next to the circle. This makes sense. So, I don't know that there were massive rocks that were originally placed there, but I do think that those trees were planted in that.
Well, so this is interesting, right?
In that position on purpose.
This comes back round to what you were saying about, these ley lines have been there for time, right?
Exactly.
And so before humans came and erected big boulders and megaliths, the trees have somehow seeded themselves for whatever reason across these ley lines. And, you can use the trees, right, to create these portals, not just megalithic rocks. You can connect the energy of the trees to create these, or to recreate the vortexes to connect down into the ley lines. Yeah. So I feel like that's what you were being shown there, weren't you? That started, I think, a lot of the work that you do with the trees.
Probably. And I've got to replay the message. When I channel, I'll record my messages because so much information comes through. And I'll have to go back and re-listen to it because I know something juicy came out of it. And I'm like, oh, I've forgotten, which is probably a sign that I need to strengtn that neural pathway. And
we can talk about that another time.
We are.
So I feel like... and I think we were going to share. So what were you saying? You were saying that for you, I guess going to Avebury then 18 months ago was the first experience you ever had of, or even came across the word gridwork, which is crazy because now you're sort of doing it all the time, which is amazing. And you love it so much.
Proper activating sessions as well, which were transformative. I mean, only a year on, we were doing something like that event. And it was just, that's where I met a different version of Lucy, where we were commanders and worked together on a massive fleet of ships. And
that remembering, that feeling
it was just like, oh, it's you again. All right, chap, what are you doing here? We're like old
chums.
Old chums.
We were men. We were masculine.
And we were men, yeah.
And we were like, oh, we've worked together before. Like
we're back here doing this again.
So crazy.
And so that is also that is what can happen when you go and you have activations, which is something that Lucy and I do. We activate these memories. Is that the right word of activating these memories?
Yeah. Remembering.
The codes that will bring them through, and all of a sudden weird and wonderful things like that happen because I thought, am I seeing this or is Lucy seeing this? And the second time we went back and did something similar as well. Do you remember that in the Arcturus ship, there was a waterfall that I'd been shown.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Very healing. And there's some nanotechnology as well that's working in there. Not so nano, but it's definitely robotic. But you saw it in a slightly different way, but you did see that. And again, it's like, ooh.
But that's because we were in that portal and we had activated it. So
we were in the Longboat to be specific.
Perhaps we need to talk about that in a deeper level another time because, what happens during our gatherings, our sort of Avebury and beyond gatherings is so much activation, so much remembering. But to talk about sort of grid work, that's because we are connecting deeply into the earth to hold that space and then calling in really super high vibrational energies that are right for us, right for the planet, right for everyone who is with us at the time. So it's all very held and very specific to the group that we take. Yes. So, that's the kind of work that people hearing this might feel called to, it's incredible work. It really is. And, we're learning about it, but we are very blessed to have our guides kind of holding our hands and explaining it all through to us. And we were like, what's happening? But when it all transpired, it was incredible. It really was. It's such beautiful work.
It is.
But for me, I suppose my story is that I was just taking myself off on my own. I didn't know anybody else that was doing this, and I didn't know that it was called Gridwork. I didn't have a term for it. But I had learned Reiki and learned to channel energy. And my guides were always saying that it was to hold bigger energy, not just to heal individual people, that it was...
Okay, this makes sense.
It was to hold big energy, and they would give me attunements and activations to hold more and more energy all the time. And I went through a phase of having so much like third eye activation. I had chronic headaches, chronic fatigue, because it was sort of expanding to hold more higher vibrational frequencies. And I didn't really know what was going on. They would tell me bits and pieces about connecting to portals across the earth. And I didn't know that. I didn't know about ley lines. I didn't know about the convergence points. I didn't know about any of that. So it all came about in a very odd way for me. But it was exciting. And I kept being brave and doing it. And so, yes, they would guide me to Avebury and other random places, like in a field with trees around it. I would turn up there and just see the trees, and I'd think, oh gosh, this is one of these portals. And
that's so beautiful.
It was amazing.
You could just feel that sense.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like you can really feel it. And a bit like you with your trees, you're like, this creates a space. This is, and then they would show me how to connect to the Gaia energy below, and then draw down these high vibrational frequencies through my body. And it always felt really lovely. It felt really nice. It felt very powerful. And I always felt like, oh, wow, something's really changed now for the planet. And I feel good about that, And
it's so lovely, isn't it?
I think it's really nice to do it in that way, that you're not getting any thanks for it, any recognition. You're not telling anybody. I hardly told anybody. Nobody really would have understood anyway. And so, but it always felt amazing. And anyone who does any energy work, any Reiki or any energy healing knows that whenever you give energy healing to anybody, you always receive it. And I can guarantee, and anyone that's come to our Gridwork gatherings can testamount to this, which is if you give energy to the planet in this way, it's not your energy, by the way, you are just being a conduit and a channel for the energy to flow through you. You receive some of that beautiful energy as well. Yeah, and so you feel amazing. Everybody leaves like in this just blissful energy and frequency that lasts for weeks. It really does.
Like, who wouldn't want that?
Who wouldn't want that? That's why we want to talk about it on our podcast, so everybody knows about it and can go off and do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we encourage you to do it, my love. So that's what happened for me.
Oh,
and then I met
lovely.
You because I'd seen the same lady advertise her gathering, and I just had this massive I'm going, and I could go in my diary, I could make it, and I just couldn't wait to get there to meet other people that potentially had been doing what I'd been doing on my own for quite a long time. And I met Emily and other beautiful light workers, grid workers. Yeah. So it was beautiful. Yeah.
So who do you think makes a good grid worker? We can all do it.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage you to.
Everybody can.
But I think there's a few qualities that kind of
and it is that
you.
Humble, grounded, humility, drop the ego. This isn't, we're saying about you feel like a superhero. You are channeling high vibrational energy. That has to come through a pure soul, a purity. So really the people that are guided to do this, that are doing it just without telling anyone, that are out there now, they're doing it from that place of purity of wanting to help the planet. And so, yeah, just being kind of grounded. And grounded is a really good point, actually. I'm just going to mention it. It's not kind of where we're at, but just to mention that, you know, connecting deep into the earth before you're bringing any high vibrational energy is so vital.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure everyone's guides wouldn't let them do that anyway without doing that.
Well, I don't know. Some people might not be as connected with their guides to be able
true.
to share that. So it is, I think, take a moment, touch the ground, really feel into it. Who would have walked on there before? Just let all of these memories, thoughts, just kind of muse around and come through. I think that's a really important thing to do.
And you can connect to your ancestors, you know, connect to the ancestors of the land that you are arriving at, that you're finding yourself at. Connect with them, ask them to support you.
Yeah.
And of course, the nature spirits. Let's not talk about...
all the elementals.
Let's talk about the elementals, because they're there to support as
They
well.
are.
When we were at Avebury, they really came out saying,
So much
don't
fairy
forget
energy,
us.
dragons.
We are here as well, and we want to help you with this work. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it just keeps opening and unfolding, doesn't it? So as open-minded, as open-hearted as you can be with it, and just know that source light is just coming, love is coming through you straight into the earth, and you can just sit with that, and you can just channel that, and just take yourself into a nice meditation with it, and just enjoy it, and don't worry about how you look, because people aren't going to be. If they see you happy, they'll be happy.
Oh, I've had people judging me. And honestly, you have to let that go, my loves, because people aren't always on the same level of awareness, you know. And of course, had I many years ago walked past somebody who was channeling energy like I see myself doing it now, what would I have thought? You know, always think to yourself, have empathy for people who think you look crazy, because that was probably you a while ago, looking at someone else doing something and thinking, oh, that looks crazy. You know, it's all... we're experiencing this reality through our own unique lens, and you just carry on doing it through yours, my loves, because, you know, you're doing beautiful things to assist the planet, right? And
Absolutely.
that's what I remember being at Avebury a few years back now, and I was channeling really high vibrational bliss codes through my body and into the earth, and I always had my back against a rock or crystal grid in front of me to help anchor the energies, and I had been doing it for a while in meditation. So there was a lady sat on the floor in front of a rock with a crystal grid, you know, in a meditative state. And this older man walked past, bless him. What did he say? He said something a little bit insulting to me. And it's like, oh, she's away with the fairies or something to kind of imply that I was maybe on drugs or something. And I thought, well, to be honest with you, I am literally, it's like I've had a hit of some kind of drug. I was
high as a kite.
I was as high as a kite. I really was. And he used some kind of expression like that. He was like, oh, look at that one, you know, as if I was, you know, somewhere else. And I was in a really high, I was like, woo. And the fact that he recognized that, even though he said a bit of a dig at me, I thought, wow, he must really be able to see this bliss frequency that I'm holding. And I found that quite encouraging.
I love that. I love that. That's
see
so
this
nice.
Frequency that I'm
so
in.
Nice.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Oh,
never let that put you off, loves.
Never, because you never know what's going to come from it either. Like I remember, that's so beautiful. I remember being around one of the megaliths, and people have been talking about green orbs and what they represent. And I'd kind of I was playing with a bit of an orb around this megalith. It was a really interesting picture. And then I just saved it, and it was on my screenshot because it looked like there was a beautiful flower on top of this megalith. It was so beautiful, but blues and greens. And so that was my screensaver for about 6 months until I wanted to upload another one on my homepage. And then I looked closely at it, and this flower of light had a face and a little orb, and it was just, and you could see the green wings of the fairy, and I was like, oh,
it's beautiful.
I've captured a fairy on my phone by a megalith when I was feeling that energy, when I felt like they were teasing me. And even in the live of that snapshot, you can still see her face as it kind of pans down to the side. So she's like, I'm still here, I'm still here, I'm still here. Oh, I'm gone.
I love that. And, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's
fairy
kind of
magic.
It really was. So I guess by the time this podcast goes out, we will have already been to Avebury and back, but we've got lots of dates, don't we? So do check.
Oh my God.
Do check down below and tell us about your grid working experiences. If this is something that you have done before, maybe you're kind of doing it and you're not too sure that you're doing it, and we can give you a bit of confirmation, or just we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah,
we'd
maybe a site's calling you. So many people I talked about Avebury are like, what is Avebury? I feel called to it and I don't know why. I feel like I want to go there and I don't know why. So many people say that. Isn't it interesting? Because I think it really is spreading through the collective consciousness, and people are, and it's a remembering that's spreading through. It's that remembering of, oh, okay, there's work to be done. And when I say remembering, I don't mean that you have lived a life at Avebury. Let's get that clear. I mean, it's something, a remembering in you, an awakening within you, a call to do this work, or remembering that you came to do some work like this. And that's incredible.
Yep. Absolutely. We're multidimensional beings having multidimensional experiences all the time. So there are aspects of us that are here and present, and there are aspects that are all over the place. And so it's just tuning into these different channels, like we would a radio channel, TV channel, to get different information. And that's what we're doing. These places, these powerful points on earth help us do that. And it's just so exciting. It's just so exciting.
And how would you say it's changed you, Emily, coming across the grid work?
Just 180 degrees. Everything's just completely different. I think it came to me when I needed to kind of have faith in humanity and society and for our planet, to the point I could cry about it, because it just makes me so emotional, and you feel so utterly helpless when you see things being destroyed all the time around us, and these massive companies just continuing to do this. And then you get to make a difference, and then you remember, not only are you making a difference, but like we've done major work before, like with thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it's like, ooh, it just kind of slots into place, makes some things make a bit more sense, and other things go, okay. Yeah. But it's kind of a bit of being at the top of the roller coaster in a way. You're like, I don't know what's coming next.
That's so true. Oh my goodness.
Am I going up, or am I still going around, or around a corner? Am I upside down now? Like,
it is a wild ride. There's no lie.
But I think that's why we've come to Earth at this time.
But I think
it's a popular destination.
It either resonates with people or it doesn't. Like you mentioned, having that kind of part of you that likes to not go on the trodden path.
Absolutely.
Right? And I love doing that too. I love going to new places. Like, we're saying about, do we feel like there's something in us that where we want to go and explore a particular place? I have that in me to go. If somebody said, right, Lucy, I can book you a flight tomorrow to go to Sedona or to go to Egypt.
Can we not do it this afternoon, please?
Costa Rica. I would be there in
Absolutely.
A heartbeat. It would be if I could choose anything to do, that would be it.
Yep.
And that speaks to my purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is to grid work across the planet. So the things that are natural highs for you, natural draws for you, what's that teaching you? And I feel like there's a journal prompt there, right? There's a bit of homework there for people to go, okay, what if I could do anything right now? Everything is laid out for me. I can do anything I want. What would I do? And some people might be like, oh, I want to create art, I would if I could not do my job and I could, not do this life, I would want to create art, or it could be anything. Yeah. But, that's really where you find what your soul has come to do,
Yeah.
Yeah. So adventuring and exploring is a sign, definitely, that grid working is for you, especially if it's ancient sites.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
It's ancient sites. We just...
Yeah, megalith any day of the week.
Yeah. I have something to share on that, actually, about megaliths that came to me when I was looking at the Reiki Master Manual recently, because I'm teaching that this week. And I was looking at crystal gridding, and all of a sudden I just realised that a crystal grid is exactly the same as a megalithic circle.
Yeah.
I why have I never thought of that before? It's exactly the same. So the way I program a crystal grid and teach people how to program crystal grids is exactly what we're doing when we go to Avebury and we connect the energy of the megalithic stones. They're crystalline. They are energetic. What do we call them? Conductors.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And I feel like that's the remembering that needs to be awakened within us at this time.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Is to really just, because we watch programs about it and there's all sort of hearsay, and this is not science fiction. This is science fact. These structures are made of quartz crystal, not entirely, but a lot of percentage of quartz crystal, and also hematite and magnetic crystals. And it's like, okay, can we level up our crystal grid knowledge and apply it to these big energetic structures? Because this is what I'm talking about when I've been on my journey of learning about energy. They've started me out small scale with understanding crystals and understanding Reiki and energy and healing individuals. But now they're like, whoa, come on. You've always been you've always been guided to bigger and more. And that's because the planet, the Earth, needs this big energetic help at this time. So I just really want to encourage anybody who's curious about this to just take some steps forward, ask your guides, ask for some guidance, and start visiting some of these beautiful vortexes where these ley lines converge, and explore and have adventures. And it will only take you in the most beautiful directions, and you'll only ever feel good and more aligned and in higher vibration when you're doing it.
Oh, I love that. Because the crystal grid is something that I haven't kind of experienced on that level. So I'm still so new to crystals, but I'm so excited. Energy. I can't wait for you to educate us more and myself on that. And I just know that this is going to come through and make so much sense. Well, yeah. So blessed to have this one.
Energy amplifiers. That's what they do. And conductors. Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Beautiful.
Well, it kind of was Gridwork, but
no, it is, because they say that they used to be quite bold in their colors, and they're weathered now. So we don't have any idea to the true magnificence of what they look like, but they would have been seen like gems. Can you imagine these like huge, like as big as this room, like beautiful crystals?
Love them. Yeah. Okay. That's actually a really good point. We made a note here to just mention to anybody at home, because sometimes hearing something like this could be really super activating and confirming for you. It might be like, oh my God, that's why I'm feeling called to here, there, and everywhere. So I just want to say it's okay. I feel you. And we all just want to jump on a plane and go traveling. But sometimes that doesn't align with our lives. And I just want to say that you can do this. And a lot of people know this and do this anyway. But obviously we can do this in meditation, and you can connect with portals, vortexes, ley lines. Everything can be done during a meditation, okay? And that if you have that flexibility in your life and ability in life to go to those places that you're drawn to, then wonderful. It is even better. I'm not going to lie. Being on the ground and actually being that physical bridge, my guides always tell me is really the goal. I know it is for me. But, don't feel frustrated if you can't. Don't feel like you're waiting. Do it energetically. It will get you practicing. You will be working. It will be working. You will be connecting. And the more you do it, the more deeply you can connect to those spaces and do more and more work. So I would just encourage anyone who is called to grid work not to let the fact that they can't physically go somewhere to stop them from connecting to the energy of the place.
Yeah, I'd even go another step further and just say grid your home, grid your garden.
Absolutely.
I've found myself starting to do that. It's lovely.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. That's a lovely recommendation.
Oh,
okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to add? We had so much that we wanted to share with you.
I'm just thinking, Okay. Yeah, we have loads of questions really, but I think one of the questions we were going to ask is, have we ever had a clear assignment to go somewhere and do something? And I would say,
just
yes. And I do think just going in a little bit deeper here, I think a lot of this is trusting. If you are really getting calls to go to certain places, is to be really brave and say yes. And I think I'm working on this right now. That's my stage I'm working at, is when you're told by your guides or guided by your guides that you're needed somewhere, is to let go of the how and just trust and flow, and allow the universe to align circumstances to get you there. I think that's a really nice thing to step into. That's, I think, another level of the work, is to just allow yourself to be aligned with going and doing the work that you want to participate in. So I think I'm working on that at the moment.
Oh, beautiful.
Any other questions, darling, or are you?
No. I love Gridwork. I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to get out, connect with all the beautiful plants, connect with Gaia, and just enjoy it. Yeah. Just enjoy it. Just be intuitively led. Just let the left side of the brain just relax for a while and just go have fun. If you feel like a fairy's calling you or something's calling you to like walk over, or like this tree's waving at you, go. Just go, experience it, see what happens. And then when you get to that vantage point, look around, see what other vistas are around. There's always going to be something there that is trying to show you something and support you, from my experience.
Yeah, so, I think that's where we sort of start to see through the veil, right? And see the elementals and
just
nature.
Have fun with it. Just have fun with it for now. And if anything kind of untoward comes up, then I would question that to your left mind, or you're a little bit out of alignment. But for them, I've never had a bad experience.
No,
it's always been wonderful.
All beautiful. Lovely. Well, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you. Until next week, enjoy gridworking and being your superhero on Earth.
Absolutely. Bye.
Joyful blessings. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us today. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you want to work with us directly, see the show notes below. Thank you.